You know how movies involving animals always put that little disclaimer at the end that said no animals were harmed in the making of this movie? Well, Kingdom of Spiders from 1977 cannot say that. So many spiders were run over, trampled, burned, shot, and so on. I guess they told the spider handlers they would pay $10 per spider and put no limit on how many they could bring them. 5,000 spiders were used for this film. Was killing all those tarantulas worth it for a movie? Well, no, but let's see if Kingdom of Spiders is worth a watch. It opens up on a farm, and a cow gets attacked by the camera. Oh, that's some scary stuff. Next, we meet our main character, Rack, played by William Shatner. Shatner was already a pretty big actor at this point, and I guess it took some convincing for him to take this role. But in the end, he agreed. Rack is the town vet, and he's been called to Colby's farm to see what actually killed his prize-winning cow. He sends in some samples to a lab, and they send Diane to their small town to investigate a little further. She stays in a cabin and talks to the owner, who informs her that the county fair is coming up, and she also tells her how to get a hold of Rack. The next day, the sheriff, the mayor, and Rack are talking about everything that's going on. He might have to quarantine the Colby's farm, but the mayor says that will affect the attendance to the fair. So, yeah, just like the mayor in Jaws, even though you should shut everything down, they're only thinking of the money they would lose.
Kind of keep it to yourself where you can have a low profile. You know what I mean?
Eventually, Diane shows up and informs them that the cow was killed from spider venom, but that's impossible. Spiders in this area couldn't kill a dog, let alone a 1,500-pound cow. With more questions than answers, they decide to go take a look at the farm. And when they get there, well, they get their answers. Colby just found a huge spider nest on his property. There must be thousands of tarantulas in it. They take one back to the cabin to study and discover that it's immune to pesticides. And these spiders aren't from this area. But the good news is it seems that they all gathered into one spot. So they decide to go back to the farm and light it on fire. But you didn't think that would kill them, did you? The spiders have a back door, and they escape from the flames. The next day, Rack goes to visit his niece, Linda, and his sister-in-law, Terry. I guess her husband, Rack's brother, died a few years ago, and he helps out from time to time. And now, Terry has the hots for Rack. I mean, come on, who wouldn't? But he thinks it's a little weird to date his dead brother's wife, so he keeps denying her. Besides, Rack has the hots for Diane now. And speaking of Diane, he runs into her on the road. Or more like he forcefully runs her off the road, makes her pull over, then literally and non-consensually picks her up and forces her to go out with him. Man, the 70s were a wild time.
Excuse me, but you don't seem to understand.
On their date, Rack tells Diane more about his past, about how his brother, John, died in Vietnam, and how when they were kids, they would always play pool. So that's how he got the nickname Rack. Well, that's all fine and good, but they're on a date and they're there to eat food, and that's when it hits Diane. The spiders are attacking because they need food. Humans have been using insecticides and killing off all of the spiders' natural food source. In order to survive, they're becoming more aggressive and attacking larger prey. So,
How do we get rid of them?
good question. Now, for some more bad news. They get the results back from the lab, and it turns out that this spider's venom is 5 times stronger than normal spiders. On top of that, they go back to the farm, and now there's more nests. Things are getting pretty out of control, and the mayor has his fair to worry about. So even though the professionals tell him not to, he orders poison to be sprayed. Now, I have to pause for a second here, because this is my favorite little part of the movie. The pilot gets ready to spray the poison, and he's just about to take off when he draws a little picture of a spider on his plane. Look at this thing. Does that look like a spider to you? Looks like an amoeba. When he was drawing it, I thought, oh man, he only has one shot at this. I bet he's a really good artist, and they told him to just go nuts, draw this great picture of a tarantula. And this is what they got, and they were just like, screw it, leave it in the film. Anyway, he starts flying, and poison rains down on the fields. But our 8-legged freaks end up in the cockpit with him. So he gets scared and crashes the plane into the gas station. This is actually a really impressive shot. Yeah, they went from this to this. I don't actually know how they did this in 1977. There's no CGI. They had to superimpose it or something like that, but it's pretty seamless. Maybe they really killed a guy to get this shot. I guess he deserved it for being such a bad artist. Okay, so the poison isn't going to work and the spiders are taking over. People shoot their hands off, break through windows, and wreck their cars. It's a madhouse. It's starting to look more like a zombie movie than a spider movie. Eventually, Rat goes to save his niece and sister-in-law, but he's too late and Terry dies saving Linda. They all go back to the cabin and try to figure out a plan of attack. The phones are down. If they open the door, dozens of spiders pour in, so they're stuck there. They board up the windows and pray they can make it through the night. Several more attacks later, and you start to realize this movie is just about over. They better wrap this up quickly. And the way they end this movie, well, let's just say they had some balls. The next morning, they all wake up. They manage to get the radio working and turn it to the early morning news, expecting to hear something about the attack from the neighboring cities, but nothing. They talk about how nice the weather is, and then they start playing music. So, is that it? Did the sun come up and the itsy-bitsy spider go away? Nope. They look out the window and see white. The camera zooms out, and the entire town is covered in cobwebs. I loved that ending. The whole movie had a real 50s B-movie feel to it, so I figured the end would be like a 50s B-movie. The guy gets the girl and the monster's defeated. Everyone lives happily ever after. But instead, it ended like an episode of The Twilight Zone, where they're all doomed and there's no hope. That makes sense because William Shatner was in a lot of Twilight Zone episodes. They took a lot of the music cues straight from the show, so they were definitely inspired by it. The movie isn't perfect. The way they treated women is definitely dated. It's never cool to just kill random animals, even if they are spiders. And the plot is really nothing special. But the main actors do a good job, the music has a real 70s feel to it, and most importantly, it's fun. If you like B-movie creature features, which, let's face it, if you're watching this channel, you do, give this a shot when you're in the mood for a movie from this decade. I give it 2.5, oh screw it, 3 crappy spider drawings out of 4.
This car wants it filled up. And don't get no grease on the paint. You know, where's he at? She is in the men's room.